Okay, I look more presentable. I'm an old grandma, but I have some disturbing news for those who care. This is my apartment, and I'm an artist. I do paintings. And some of them you haven't seen, some of them are on the website. A lot of them haven't been photographed yet, but here's my bathroom. I've been a really fortunate First Virginia family. My family does not spoil us. They're not going to give us cars. They're the kind of wealthy family that makes you earn. And if you go to jail or you're a drug addict, they'll let you live out on the streets and not talk to you. Or for like me, I was a single mom. They disowned me for a number of months until I got my act together and got things working right. But for about 6 months out of the pregnancy, I didn't know if I would be part of the family. And it's funny because they kind of disown me because I have a mental illness. They're very conservative. They're not quite ready to accept that mental illness is not character flaw. And sometimes it helps me make my art. I'm just telling you the condition of my life, living in Section 8, which is pretty nice. I'm lucky to have it. But look at all this art. I just unpacked it from the barn. They would let me keep my art in the barn, but not the apartment. In the barn. So it had bird poop on it. I'm a true and honest person. My partner was William Kent Bowers, but we never touched. A painting jumped off the wall after he died, but he was ethical, very good lawyer and judge, and smarter than me, I'm sure. He learned languages. He could learn languages. I wasn't good at that. I had some abstract thinking skills that I think he was partaking of enjoying to continue his thought process too. So it was a brain connection, but he's also cute, very cute and dressed nice. And he had a girlfriend, and I had a boyfriend, but we were like two little hummingbirds. We loved each other. But anyway, so I think knowing him, his goodness, and I mean, he never even so much as touched me. One time he said, "What are you doing later?" And I was like, the right thing for me, we're not married, is to say I can't. And I did do the right thing for him and me. But what I want to talk, I'm just trying to prove my pedigree. We are evil. British can be tough. I mean, we enslaved the black, and we killed Indians. I do have a note at our house about selling slaves away, the children away. And I'm kind of in that mode of mind right now because of the kindness and the generosity and the education and the time I've spent to try to make it nicer for children that are poor and that keep going to jail. And I know Art 180 does a little bit, but when you have 8,000 people, Art 180 can't handle everything. So, one day I met a guy, and he's definitely an artist, and I did bring in the paperwork from Art 180. I said, well, you'll meet more. Cynthia Newbill had a meeting one time I went to, and they were going to do a midnight basketball league, and I said, why not skiing? What's skiing? And I was mentoring this family I met at a yard sale, and the mother was struggling with some stuff, and I won't say because it's private, but so the aunt was taking care of the kids, so I would take the aunt and the kids to the pool, to the museum, and things like that. And so I really, over the course of a couple years, have been involved with particular families and helping them and finding out in what area. I mean, I'm invested I'm invested in this, in a lot of time and energy. Not much money because I'm not rich, but I did have a car so I could take them places. And I just want to tell you what's going on. I'll make it short and sweet. When I go in the inner city and I go to Parks and Rec, they lie. First they lie. They say, we have a swim team. Everybody swims. There's swimming lessons. And it's a little frustrating for me because I can't talk. They never let me talk to the hype guy. He wrote me a letter and said, thanks for your volunteer work. And I'm like, this is not volunteer. I get paid for this. I'm an artist. This is about my art and making the world better. This is not just volunteer. This is a job. I work. And but they don't. They have 100 people on their swim team. And you have to be middle class. You have to have a car to be able to get to the thing. So if you're really poor, you can make it to a swimming pool. And they offer lessons, but the only thing they offer is 4 half-hour lessons, which if you swim, it takes a lot more than that to learn swimming. And so, it's just real easy for me. So why don't we do a swim team? You've got 7 pools. I called Chesterfield. They said they had high school seniors that could come and teach that were on the swim team. they'd be graduating, need summer jobs. And, it's a lot of fun. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the school bus would pick them up. And at 9 in the morning and deliver them back home about 11. And if we need more time in the afternoon, we could do that too, depending on the amount of children that want to swim. And swimming is integral. I mean, safety, number one. How awful is it to walk up to a pool and be afraid you're going to drown? That's almost like a panic attack disorder. But no, I fall in, I swim. I kick my feet. I was a lifeguard. I can swim. I don't have any fear of getting in water or the ocean. If you do meet somebody, say you go over to college, say you're in community colleges, and they can invite you to their lake house, even though you come from the projects. They might like you, and you get a chance to ski. There's scuba. There's all. You might even find some college swimmers. Yeah, they may. I'd say 2 or 3 of them each year would end up in college swimming, so it'd be a lifetime sport they would enjoy. And I do talk to a lot of black people, and very few of them swim because they were brought up in less educated, not dumber, I'm not saying dumb, I'm just saying less educated. They didn't have exposure to college. Like my mom did the fancy swimming, and she went on swim team, but she did the fancy swimming underwater, so she knew all about swimming. And then my dad was a lifeguard at the country club. So I guess that was before there was a pool. It's an old country club. It's a lake in Roanoke, and his dad's a doctor and everything. But to be honest, it's at a standstill because Mayor Stoney, he doesn't care about the swimming and the kids. It doesn't make his political party happy. Who's ever sponsoring him? Might be a racist. I mean, he might be racist because all the thing, and this is also to keep the kids out of jail, because if we had the kids out of jail, and they got trained in a few jobs and technical school and all that good kind of stuff, we'd have almost $2 billion a year to put to public schools to get better teachers if we value education. And that's the part, if we don't value education and we're going to go down that track and owing China more and more money because we continue racking up debt for things we don't need, I don't think the Chinese respect the Constitution the way I do. And they sure as hell don't respect Thomas Jefferson. I've never heard in their country that they do anything that Thomas Jefferson said to do. So I'm just saying, when they own our property and they have voting rights over here, they might vote in a different government than what we have, which is bad enough. You think about creative thinkers like Thomas Jefferson and Andrew Jackson and all these kids that didn't grow up on TV, that really had to do a lot of reading and experimentation. They're the ones who wrote our Constitution. It wasn't Ayn Rand. No, she's communist, and she's sneaking it in the form of greed. But my main thing is these kids, and I'm just giving you a little background information, is that Cynthia Newbill doesn't care either. She's, in fact, blocked me. She wants them to do basketball, which if you ever go to Gilpin or Mosby or Creighton, where I do go and I take my therapy dogs, and nice people, I can't say we have intellectual conversations on anything or books, but they're nice people. And they could be intellectual in some sense, or trained drivers, or just anything but prison. You know what I mean? But you need the stability in your mind about yourself and your self-confidence. One of those really great building things is horses. Can't do that, it's too expensive. But I could do swimming. I can do swimming for them, for probably 2,000 kids this summer. And the only thing, Altria said they had the money. They said file for the grant in March. The travesty, well, I feel bad for the little kids that don't have swing sets, they don't have bicycles, they don't have roller skates, they don't have Legos. But Mayor Stoney's putting $64 million into a fast-speed bus to take these black people, and I'm going to say black, most of them get the menial jobs down near Costco or whatever. I personally would invest that in education to get them out of there. And then what they want to do is build another slum it'll be a slum. They'll start out cheap and build something really cheap for them all to move there from Gilpin. But you're just moving one slum to another slum. You're not erasing the problem, which is education. I grew up in a family of college graduates. There's 5 of them. There's Mary Washington, there's William and Mary, there's Vanderbilt. My grandma was a head nurse. I don't know, we had a French teacher, and UVA. It's just the conversations that you have at the dinner table. And then we would need parenting classes. I read Aristotle, and that's unusual. I think Metaphysics by Aristotle, not very many people can read. It's just, I can't do calculus, but that is such a good book, and it made me laugh, and then Kant. So I read philosophy, but not Rand, because she's too stupid. And when I meet someone that says they follow her, they're being brainwashed. It's an easy read, and it makes you feel good about whatever you want to do to further your goal of taking care of yourself. But you end up not feeling good about yourself and probably doing drugs and drinking. Because it's a big football sport. Yeah, college people read it and they think they've read some philosophy, but you really haven't read philosophy until you know who Diogenes is. You got to read Epicurus, you got St. Augustine, John Locke, the plays of Sophocles, Emerson, Immanuel Kant. I think who else. Well, there's Plato and Socrates and Aristotle. A little minor few people. Sartre. Yeah, I read a little Sartre. And that's my love, is art and philosophy. But I also love children and doing the ethical right thing, which I can say from the Nicomachean Ethics that Stoney doesn't even probably know they're in existence because he's an Ayn Rand fan. Is that we take care of our kids. And the result of not choosing, like they didn't have Halloween costumes. There's so many churches. The Baptist church up the street, they said, the black people are lazy. We had 2 in the warehouse. They just didn't want to work. I'm like, they said a couple wanted to dress up in suits. And I said, maybe they're UPS guys. They want to drive UPS truck. Maybe they're outdoorsy kind of guy. Maybe they want to be a forester.